All right, so today was actually not bad. We actually did pretty good. Ended the week stronger than most. How do we do on the month? Not so bad. End of the week, we made a total of this much, but really Tuesday and Monday were kind of a killer, and I think Wednesday and Thursday, price action just wasn't there. Today I think was better price action, but compared to last month, I'm gonna look at last month. My average is getting higher, so look at February. So I think not higher, I guess more consistent because you see there is these days where I lost, gave some back, and then made some more, but it's the consistency that I want, or I'm holding the steady price profit and slowly going up from there. So and I feel like my accuracy this week or at the end of this week has gotten better. I have not gone red since Wednesday. All these trades have been green, and I think it's been pretty good so far. So this morning I sat down and I was like, well, no news data today. Um, what was I looking at? I was like, I don't know. What do I trade? What do I feel comfortable trading with? So IWM, QQQ, I'm comfortable trading those two. So this was the whole day so far on QQQ. Coming into the morning, we were already, below our EMAs. MACD was red. Same thing with IWM. Now we had a little bit of end day squeeze. That's due to some comments by Trump. So we'll see here. And no, I've not taken a small cap trade since Monday. I still think it's still slow, and I'm getting a bit more sleep in, so it's saving me. But once I feel, there's more momentum, I'll jump back in. But, Monday, once I lost like almost 50, I was like 42, I was just like, you know what, let me hold off on that for a little bit. So there was a lot of stuff going on between the hours of 2 p.m. Yeah, so I guess they're going to be making preparations for ground troops in the U.S. or to Iran, and then just a lot more comments by Trump. So you see, on this day, we actually went down from on QQQ from 592 to almost 570, to 578, and this was towards the end of the day. I only traded within this time frame since the open, and pretty much like close to 8. This isn't a move I can't capture because I'm at work. Maybe towards the end of the day I can, but this is usually like not the best time, or I guess sometimes I'm just busy at work, but also your your window's closing, you don't have much, so you have to be really quick and decide, like, do I get out right now or do I risk going to zero? So this squeezed up a little bit towards the end. I've seen bigger squeezes, but obviously heading into the open or heading into the after hours, we're going up higher. So I only traded within the first 2 hours, and typically I find that's best because this sometimes, yeah, I can go all the way down throughout the whole day, but quicker rate of change is what I'm looking for because I don't want to be holding for 3 hours. I mean, I held a lot for 1 hour yesterday. So the first trade I took on QQQ was a higher price, and I'm noticing what's working best is I'm not going so much out the money. I want to be closer to the in the money as much as possible. One, because I don't think this is the market currently to where you can get a little bit of a cheaper contract and look for the break towards that contract. So targeted 589 for my first trade, and that one's $61 per contract. Now I was pushing a little bit because I did peak around, I think, 200 or close to 200. And I was like, nope, I want to see how far I can go. I think today's the day. And I'm glad I did because I added a little bit extra. So 589 puts. Now, this one, I was really, most of these trades, I was focusing on the 1 minute. I felt like the things I've been lacking the most were my entries. My entries could be use some more work, and the 1 minute matters. So my first entry was as soon as this crossover happened. So what I was waiting for was waiting for a retest. So I know this broke down, right? It established a low, and what I was waiting for is a retest at the previous high. If this rejects at the previous high, 200 moving average reject, and this EMA is crossing over, I'm going to take my trade. So that's exactly what I did. I didn't jump in at the bottom because this would have been too expensive getting in at that price. So I waited for retest and waited for proper rejection, and that's what happened. So I got in as soon as this candle started. I got in for 589 contracts. I held for about 4 or 5 minutes, and I got out and made $61. So on the first 5 minutes, basically right here, I waited. This is a better area. And honestly, I did not have any establishment price targets. We were already low. The only price target I saw was on the 4 hour chart. So we're on the 4 hour chart. The lowest I ever saw, I seen, I guess, would be 583. I think this was on the daily. Nope. This was back in early March. So early March, we hit a low 583 pre-market hours. And I was like, okay, that's the area that I would assume we can hit possibly, but we went way lower than that. So that blew, towards my, that blew past towards my expectations. But Today did seem like we were going to go lower, just not sure how much lower. And that's sometimes can be a little bit scary because then stuff like this happens. We're in the open or towards the end of the day, you get the squeeze from 578 to like it wicked to 591. I don't know how quick that really lasted on that. I mean, this was very, very big candle. Like, look at, well, that was more after hours, but still, you buy inputs, you're swinging inputs at the end of the day, think you're going to go lower, and then boom, it's already squeezing up $7. So if you're in puts, you're fucked. You're basically fucked for the week. Sorry, but yeah, the next trade. So I was like, okay, good starter position. So the next one I took, I actually I took another position on 586 puts on. I think I took one more. No, no, no. I took these two. Let me check here. The arrows. Yeah, I think I got in, got out for another contract on the 586 puts. Yeah, right here. So I got in for the break of 586, saw this rejecting at the 20, and as soon as it was going down, candle under candle, got in 586 break and held for 3 minutes, got out the bottom. Why did I get out that price? Well, MACD was not going red. It kind of resurfaced, and I was like, I don't like this. I'm gonna get out. And I think at that time, let's see, 714. I was like, okay, this hasn't pulled yet back up to the 9 EMA, and I'm like, this is eventually gonna pull back up for a retest, and I'm like, I feel like this is getting too risky at that point. So I wanted to get at least another rejection at the VWAP at 20 EMA, but we got as far as a 9, so I made a little bit of money on that one, not too bad. That one was only about one contract because I was trying to be less risky, and I think at the same time I got in for IWM puts, so that one I made 35. The IWM puts, we're gonna switch. And honestly, this week has been tough. This has not been an easy week. I thought last week was harder. This week was a lot tougher. At least the first 2 days. It just wasn't. The first 2 days were just weird. So IWM. So I was like, okay, let me get in IWM today, and it's my bread and butter. Also, because I can stack more contracts because it's a lot cheaper. So as soon as I think I got it at the same time as the first contract of QQQ. As soon as this happened, because they were both almost 1-to-1, this had a steeper drop. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna wait for a pullback. Got it for the pullback, and as soon as I added one contract, added four more contracts a minute later or 2 minutes later, and it kept going down further. And I took my profit there for around 146. And yeah, I need to learn how to ride these out a little bit more. Um, I think I was a little too impatient to not allow these for to not allow more profit because this did begin to base out around 243 and I got in 246. That would have been a lot of money, guys, a lot of money. So really, I bailed within these doji candles before even bigger downside occurred. So same thing, and I think it's just because early in the week I really wasn't. I didn't establish my, I guess, cushion. So I didn't have that much big of a cushion to go in. So this Wednesday through today was a little bit tougher mentally, just being careful because I the worst I want is a red week. I haven't had a week so far where I've gone red, and I don't want that. Every week's been green. However, there's always like it's 1 or 2 days where I'm red. Well, I haven't had a second red day since last month. So every week though, I've had at least one red day. So that's something I need to work on. So then I also, for my last trade, QQQ puts this one. Now I feel like this one was a little bit riskier, but I mean I saw further. To me, I think further downside was a little bit was possible. The only thing that worried me was at 5 EMA, and this is the thing. We were stalling out for a while within this range. We were hanging out here, and I was looking for a retest at this level right here at a low of. Let's see, the low was 585.24. I was like, okay, we're gonna target that area. That's where I wanted to target. So I'm looking at the 1 minute. 1 minute is important. I don't care what anyone says. 1 minute is super important for these small entries. These small entries or these small pullbacks on the 1 minute will get you a better price, especially on a stock like QQQ or index fund. I mean, the swings are insane, guys. Like we went from 591 and then with 587, $4 move. To me, that's a lot. Now, had you bought puts at the top right here and right there and just kept on holding down at 592 at the peak, that would have been possible. And some people might do that. Some people might start and see where this goes. Yeah, a little riskier, a little risky. You can say, okay, it broke through. I'm going to buy it where it happened here or at the top there. Maybe a little bit more expensive. dollar cost average down, but a little bit risky just because you don't know what's going to go on. You need good confirmation on how the day will go. You can try it. People will make it work. So after my other contracts, I got in 586. So this one's with 589. 589, 586. I attempted 586 again, looking for a break to 585. Again, I was looking for the low at this candle right here. So I got in one contract and MACD was green. I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm waiting for a bigger pullback. And then that's why I only stuck with one. I was like, okay, what if this shoots up right now? I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose a lot more. And if it rejects and confirms it, I'll take the move. So it did go up. I wouldn't say double top, almost, but not ideal. I mean, if you look at here, kind of, not really. I wouldn't say it's a true double top. Anyways, it rejected. I'm like, cool, let me add there, expecting a continued drawdown in QQQ to break through the low, but didn't work. It was consolidating, and I was like, huh, I don't like this, you know. But I kept on holding. Why? Look at this MACD. I'm like, this MACD trend has been going up. However, this has been slowly trending down. So to me, it just showed that there was further stronger weakness occurring. Then we broke down, and as soon as we got to that price level, I'm like, I'm not taking chances. What if it doubles bottoms from there and really reverses like hell? Then I'm going to lose. So I took it off the table, and even though it wasn't that much, that just shows my entries could have been higher. I averaged down to 190. I think I was at 200, 210, I believe, and I think these went to like 175. So that tells me the entries could still be still work on the entries. Now within that time frame, let's see, this was at 7:37. So if we look at the 5-minute chart, it was a little bit choppier. 5-minute chart was a little bit choppier. So 5:37. So as soon as what I was waiting for too, like I said, 9 EMA. 9 EMA, I wanted to retest, hopefully at the 20 EMA, but it rejected at the 9. So as soon as it went above that, that's when I got in. I was like, okay, I think this is a good spot. So, you know, maybe in the 1-minute entry, it wasn't that bad, but on a 5-minute entry, on an expected, I guess, drawdown, since you would assume this would be the pattern, goes up, pulls back, and then sinks further down. That's what I expected to happen, but that's not what happened. We just went like that slowly, and then we fell down. So every day is gonna be a little bit different, and then you have to just be careful in how you approach that, because I mean, this sort of, I guess, didn't form a double bottom, and I guess, yeah, it's not a true double bottom, but it could get scary. We've seen these crazy reversals. Like, I mean, look at this. You get in here and it starts going up. You're like, fine, I'm gonna hammer this towards the last minute of the day, last 30 minutes, 580, to 578, and then you're holding, and then boom, 2 minutes later or 10, 15 minutes later, it just goes up all the way to 582, and you're losing. So this is the end of the day. We've seen crazy reversals, and like I said, I was targeting the low of this daily candle, and I went for it. But this isn't an area where I could have traded. I was at work. However, this would have been a good spot to continue, and I'm hoping at some point maybe I can get some days where I can trade the whole day or have enough capital to trade for further. And so you see here, double top. This is like perfect. This is a good double top, and you see how this 5-minute was already crossing over at that time. Right here, what I was getting a little worried, I was like, okay, I know this is pulling back, but I was able to escape just enough for profit, and this was worrying me. I was like, okay, I don't like how this 5 minutes getting thinner and thinner. I think we're gonna retest. That was my goal, retesting this low, and it did support. It did go back up. We instantly rejected above UAP. Small breakout to the upside, but a little bit smaller, not so strong in rate of change, and then boom, kept dropping further. So there are many ways to like approach this. I like to approach this a bit more conservatively until I can grow, count size and maybe trade further into the day. Maybe, just maybe, where, hey, this rejected immediately at 591 and we have a big candle, but you wait for a retest, maybe I'll get in here and you get the top and then just keep holding that until the profits get bigger and bigger. And then obviously, look, the size is not the problem. Contract size for me is not the problem at the moment. Problem is just one, being a little bit too impatient. Monday, Tuesday costed me. Two, just being able to be comfortable with the whole time. That's going to come with time. I'm going to be able to just let this ride, have a price target, but obviously you have to monitor because you never know. Today we didn't really have any news, no data, nobody was talking in the morning, so I was like, okay, that's genuinely a good day. So I think I did pretty good, despite how much I've been, or despite how red Monday and Tuesday were, Monday through Friday was good. So look at these contracts. The same contracts I was aiming for. These went up to like 404. I'm sure these went up higher because this went up. This was 1127. So 1127. So this was around 1127 is right around here. I think 314. Yeah, 1127 is right around here in this area. And further downside, this would have been like 500 a contract, and I had these at 200, so that would have been a lot. But look at the drawdown you're going to be holding into. Say you get in, here, or maybe up down here. Can you really hold through another drawdown? How do you know this is not going to reverse? It's tough. You want to hold the whole day, but it's not possible. It's not possible. I don't think it's possible unless you get the rate of change drastic enough for that day, for that hour, to really profit, because these were good. This is from 591 to 586. This is guys, this is like $4 or $5 move within the span of like 30 minutes, not even an hour. But to capture a whole day, 591 all the way to 578, it's not something that you see all the time, but QQQ is known for doing that. It's known for big swings, and I like trading it more. Now I do. So now let's see. We formed a bottoming tail. We're probably going to resurface closer to 200 EMA, maybe make some moves back up to the 9. So I think I can see a slight recovery next week in the markets. But look at these swings. I mean, look at this day. I guess actually no. Let's look at a day where even if the price action looked slow, like the high of this was 612 and the low was 605. That's enough to make money. So QQQ is really good. Now, the reason why I felt like IWM was a lot slower, well, IWM is smaller price, so it's going to take time for this to get going. But the pros is contracts are going to be easier to stack. This might require longer hold time. So I think IWM is good for longer hold time. But QQQ gotta get out because, man, like, I think the thing that's stressing me the most just today were the 1 minute. And that's the flaw with the 1 minute, is like you're gonna see these quick changes pretty quickly, and you're like, damn, like what's happening? So you see here, as soon as I got in for 586, because it was 586.14, I'm like, nope, we're going to break through 586. This went up to 586.40, 586.50, 586, almost to 587. I was like, damn, do I got to cut my trade right here? But no, failed, rejected, crossed through the emails, and I was like, no, we're good. But you see how quickly that just happens within the span of a couple minutes? Each of these candles, let's see, this first 1 minute candle right here, the high was 586 and the low was 585. So this is almost $1. IWM doesn't really work like that sometimes. Maybe in the beginning, but look. Let's see. Just to show you guys. I think the most, I mean, I've seen this go down up and down $1, but the high of this 245.46, low. Okay, this one was actually pretty big, but you guys get what I'm saying. That QQQ is going to swing more. It's a bit more aggressive. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and take care. See you guys. Peace.